What is up, fam? It's Dr. Dale. This is Friday Fables. So I heard a story. So it was a professor, a college professor. He wanted to teach the students a lesson, teach them something about life. Let's say he was a philosophy professor. So he had the students get a jar. They each brought a jar. He had a bunch of rocks around the room. He had a lot of pebbles around the room. And he had some sand around the room. He said, grab your jar, and I want you to fill it up with the rocks. Students all grabbed the jars, grabbed some rocks around the room. They filled the jars. He asked them a simple question. He says, is your jar full? Students all looked around each other. Yeah, all the jars are full. Yeah, yes, sir. Our jar is full. My jar is full. All right. He said, okay. Now I want you to grab the pebbles. Pour those pebbles in your jar. The students started to get it. Oh, okay, I got you. So they grabbed the pebbles. They poured it into the jar. Right. Then the jar looked heavier. Right. It had more pebbles. Had pebbles and the rocks in it. So the professor says, all right, is your jar full now? Students like, yeah, now it's full. Ah, you sure? Grab some sand. Pour it into your jar. So they all grabbed this cup of sand, they poured the sand into the jars, got full. Is your jar full now? Yeah, I got it. Right, so there was more that they could add to the jar. So two main morals from this story, two things to learn from this story about life in general, right? The first is, think about that jar as a holder of time. Holder of time. People always say, hey, Dr. Dale, how do you get so much accomplished in 24 hours? You do all this stuff. You're a doctor, you write books, you coach your kids' sports, you train, do that, summits, all that type of stuff. How do you get it done, right? And they say they don't have enough time. I said, we all have time, right? If you tell me you don't have time, that's just an excuse. We all got 24 hours in a day. It's how you spend your time. So think about that jar as a holder of time. The rocks, the heavy things, those are the things that matter the most in life to you, right? Think about those as being the most important things. For me, that's my faith, my family, right? Those types of things. The things that are non-essentials, got to stick with no matter what. Everything else goes out the window before those things, right? So you want to make sure you have space in your jar for those things first. Because imagine if you have your jar, imagine if you put the pebbles in first. Is there going to be space to get more rocks in there? It's going to limit the amount of rocks you can put in there. Or if you put the sand in there first, you're not going to be able to get the rocks in there. So think about the rocks, the heavy things in your life, the things that are most important to you, and make sure you get those in first, right? The pebbles are the next thing, right? Those are things like, hey, my job, hey, I need these things to survive, right? My job and some other things that are really important, like having, a decent home and environment, things of that sort. Hey, these things are really, really important. They're not the utmost priority to me, right? This is for me personally, my faith, my family. Boom, those are at top two, right? After that, start, other things. I want to live a certain way, things of that sort, right? So those are pebbles, right? So I spend my time trying to make sure those things can come to fruition in my life. And then finally, the third thing, the sand. The sand are the delights in life, right? Those are the things like, hey, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna watch a Netflix series, right? Or I'm gonna go to a Mavs game or whatever, Dallas, right? Or whatever, whatever it is, right? That's the way you should look at it. So your jar is your holder of time. Get the heavy things and get the important things in first, right? The other moral of the story is one that I really, really love, one that's super important to me, and one that I think people need to focus on in general in life. At times, we think we've given all that we have. At times, we think we've given all that we have. Again, the jar, you put the rocks in first. I filled it up. Hey, I've given it all I got, coach. I filled it up, right? And I don't mean coach just in the sense of sports, right? There's coaching in general, teachers, whatever. Anybody's giving you guidance and instruction. I've given it all I got. I filled it up. Are you sure you filled it up? Those students thought the jar was full, but there was space for the pebbles. There was space to fill it up more. Let's give a little bit more. Let's get the pebbles in there. Now let's get the sand in there. A little bit more, you can fill it up. So when you think you've filled it up, when you think you've given it all you've got, there's still space for more. I'm reminded of something that happened, something I witnessed when I was a child. I think I was in third grade or something. Excuse me, third grade or something. I went to a basketball camp. And that was big for me because my parents were not about the sports thing. My parents were all about grades, academics. When I was going to college, they said, hey, if you're not going to the NBA, you don't need to be playing college sports, none of that stuff, okay? So the fact that I got to go to this one camp was huge for me, right? I think I went to 2 camps in my entire childhood, basketball camps. It was huge for me. So it was a camp. Bank of America put the camp on. Shout out to Bank of America back then for putting the camp on. I'm not endorsing no banks or whatever, but shout out to Bank of America. And Avery Johnson came. Avery Johnson was the main guy at the camp, and that was huge for us. Avery Johnson, this was back in the early 90s. He was a superstar and all that. So it was huge for us. So we got to see Avery Johnson. I remember he had a kid get up from the audience, probably a high school kid. He said, hey, I want you to run from here to there as fast as you can. From here to there as fast as you can. Can you do that for me? Kid said, yeah, I can do it, coach. Can you do that for me? Yeah, I can do it, coach. All right. Ready, set, go. Boom. Zoom. Kid zooms down there, zooms back. Avery says, all right, that looked pretty good. 20 seconds, really good. That was the fastest you could do. Kid's like, yeah, man. Hands on his knees, he's huffing, he's puffing. I give it all I got, coach, man. Yeah, I did my best, right? Avery said, that was it? That's as far as you can go? You got to be able to go fast. Like, nah, man, I did. Hey, I gave it all. You told me to go fast. I can get fast. Avery pulls out a $20 bill from his pocket, holds it up. If you can beat this time, this 20 is yours. Kid's eyes perk up, looks up at Avery. Look on his face changes. Not huffing and puffing him, but now he's got a look of determination on his face, right? He's ready to go, all right? On your mark, get set, go. Speed changed, pace changed, mentality changed, posture changed, confidence changed, everything changed. Now he's really going up and down. Boom, click. 17 seconds, young man. I told you can go faster. There's always more to give. And that message has stuck with me since I was an itty bitty child, right? Learning from Avery Johnson. Shout out to Avery, right? Since I was a little bitty child. And that's the story of this jar also. You got this jar. You filled it up with all the rocks. You think that you've given it all you got. You think that there's no more space for anything else. You really believe that. But there's still space for the pebbles. You can get a little bit more. And when you've given all that in, guess what? You can get a little bit more. Still space for the sand. Live to your potential. Fill that jar all the way up. Live to your potential. And after the sand gets in there, let's get some water in there, all right? Leave it all out. All right, guys, Friday Fables, man. Lessons to learn. Stories teach a lot, man. Friday Fables. Love you guys. Thanks for listening.